Welcome to this week's Plugin of the Week, The Oven by Hendy Amps, and modeled by Plugin Alliance and Brainworks. Let's check it out.
What?
Let's see what's cooking in the oven. This is easily becoming one of my favorite mastering tools, and I use it in mixing as well. I use it in buses, drum sub buses, basses. You can use it in guitars, anything where you want some good color, but you're not trying to like over EQ things or over compress. But let's listen to it in this latest master that I've done. This is by Jairo, Otra Nota.
Como quiere, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como cree de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere, cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue. Me tienes arrebatado aquí a tu lado, nunca más te llama.
Woo! This thing's fat. It's fat. It's cooking. It's fat sausage. Cooking a fat sausage in the baked oven. We're broiling.
And I have a piece. Hell no.
So I bypass it in and out just so you guys can kind of get a feel of what we're doing. This is really making this this harmonic kind of pop. It's making the low end thicker. I mean, you guys let me know what you're hearing. We're right at the border of like getting a little distorted, which I like. I like soft clipped kind of vibes. Makes it a little more modern. I'm going to go through this quick because, you know, the plugin of the week is not about reading the manual to you guys, but I do want you to understand a couple of these sections of this plugin because it's really, really powerful. Okay, so first off, you got the headroom. Very important. You want less headroom, you're going to clip quicker. Okay, you're going to clip the input, so you're going to saturate quicker on the input. That's what the headroom is. So I have it at more so that I can use the controls and get the color from the controls and driving the different circuits of this hardware unit, right? So the hardware unit of this is $6,600, just so you guys know. And the Plugin Alliance version is $349. And you can also get it with the mix package, which is $15-20 a month, something like that. All right, just to get that out of the way. Calibration mode, very important. This is actually made in the unit so you can balance the left and right sides. So you can say, hey, low, medium, high. You can say, oh, I want to click that one up or one down, you know? But you can also push into the saturation harder. And then this flow knob at the end is a way to back off on that. So that's kind of a gain stage. The flow is saying, hey, don't come out the output as hard. It's kind of like your output gain, okay? And you do have an output gain as well down here, like an actual proper output gain that I'm using. But you can use the flow to sort of adjust your gain staging. That's what it's for. Okay, so that way you can drive harder, you can color more, and then you can turn the flow down. Now, let me just show you an example of that as we go to a high level here.
De todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere, cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue, me tienes.
Okay, so hopefully you're hearing that. That's a very, very big part of this workflow with this plugin. And something that I love to do is I like to calibrate it high on maybe drums or something to get that saturation going. And then I like to take the flow back to where I'm like, am I hearing just a little bit of distortion, some soft clippy kind of stuff? Love it. All right, now let's get into all the fun stuff, the cooking and the temp and the burners and the sizzle and all that good stuff.
Wake up! Yes, sir. Wake up!
And then same thing with cook. You can kind of switch between these. These are all different algorithms and different things that it's doing. If you want to read about it, you can literally go to hendyamps.com/the-oven. And this will explain everything. It tells you exactly what everything does. It'll tell you what the flow does, what the temp does, the temp range, all this stuff. The cook control is golden. It allows the user to drive the pentode tube. So pentode's going to be awesome because you're going to have equal harmonics. Okay, so you have odd and equal, odd and even, equal, minus and plus divided by. odd and even harmonics, and a pentode is going to be even harmonics. So it's very, very beautiful and colorful. So with the Cook, that's what that's telling you, is that you can actually make this very colorful. So that's kind of the thick, I use that on drums. You're going to love that on drums. Let's push it a little bit on this Cook just so you can hear what that color sounds like.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal.
All right, so you're mainly going to hear that on the drums, right? So the transient information, it's got, it's like getting distorted. Sounds really nice. It kind of makes the transients pop out a little bit more, which is really nice because transients are life to the record. That's what we want. Especially when you're using limiting and stuff in the mastering process, you want to use transients and saturation and distortion to help those transients poke out better so they don't get squashed by a limiter, right? So that's part of the mastering and how we can get things to sound and be perceived very loud. This Cook and the pentode, the even harmonics, that distortion, it actually increases perceived loudness, but it doesn't actually add any voltage, which is very interesting. And that's something we use a lot in mixing and mastering to make modern records. On each of these, the cool part is that you get two different switches. So you get A and B, A and B, A and B on the burners. And obviously these burners are, they're going to saturate. So you got a low burner, mid, and a top, kind of like a Pultec EQ kind of idea. I'm pushing the low burner a little bit because I really love what it's doing to the low end saturation. And I'll kind of bypass this in and out, and I'll take this low burner up and down just so you can hear it. But there's also bake and broil, and there's electric and gas. Obviously, these are different types of cooking. The oven, we're cooking, man. You can read about these as well, like bake versus broil. But if you want to get super specific, read up on the manual, read it up on the website. Let's listen to these bands. I'm going to start with this low burner, kind of like turn it up and down and flip between the A and B type on the burner.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue. Me tienes arrebatado aquí a tu lado, nunca más te he llamado, en el club te vi gozando.
So that's the low, and then you got the mid. Now this is where you want to pay attention to the vocal, right? And listen to what it's doing on the vocal.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue. Me tienes arrebatado.
Pretty amazing, right? It really pushes that vocal forward, really thickens it out, makes it bigger in the middle, jumps out of the speakers more because you're saturating the middle, right? So that's the whole idea of that. Now let's push the top burner. This is where you want to pay attention to the sizzle on the top, the hi-hats, the sparkly stuff, the synths that have the high stuff on it. Even the vocals and the sibilants or the top of the vocal, the spit.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue. Me tienes.
All right, pretty cool. You're adding a lot of color there and a lot of texture. Now let's get into the sizzle. This is something that I think is like super, super dope about this plugin. The sizzle is exactly what that sounds like. Like what does it sound like when you throw some bacon in a pan? It's like.
Look, you hear that? It's already frying. You hear that? I ain't playing no game.
It's got that sizzle. That's what this is. So listen to this. This is amazing.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene.
Okay, so that's where you get that crispiness, right? Everyone asks for that crisp. How do you make the crispy thing happen? That's how it happens. You get that sizzle going. And of course, the flow is going to be your gain stage there. But other things that I love about this plugin and things to know about this plugin, saturation can be addictive, right? What I recommend you do is always have references available to A/B and make sure you're not going too far with the saturation. You're not pushing the vocal too far forward or, you know, distorting too much, where it's like audibly like, oh, that doesn't sound good. Like you have like crackling going on. And then the last stuff that all Brainworks plugins have is you're going to have your mono maker where you can say, hey, I want 30 hertz or up to 2K and below that to be in the middle in mono. So that's kind of cool. And I love that feature. I usually will start like around 30 hertz and see how that feels. And then I might move it up, but I kind of like the low and some of the subby stuff being in the stereo. I feel like sometimes it needs that. The track needs that. Too focused in the middle on the low end gets a little weird to me. Kind of kills the stereo. And then you also have the stereo width, which I'm doing 3% on. So I'm going 103, right? So I'm going 103% on this, and you could turn this on or off. I don't even think I had it on, so it's all good. And then parallel mix, which you're blending in the parallel. Now you can see I'm using this all in parallel right now. So parallel is at 43%. Let's take this to 100% and you can really, really hear what this thing is doing because it's actually quite intense.
Como quieres, dale como mueve ese reggaetón, como prende la consuela, como crees de todas las mujeres, brinda, fuma, baila, se atreve cuando quiere, ella quiere, cuando quiere, por eso ella mueve como mueve, ella solo busca cuando conviene y se pone mal si no le llegue. Me tienes arrebatado, aquí a tu lado, nunca más te he llamado, en el club te vi gozando, quieres otra nota, me tienes a un lado, esperando otra, si no estás a mi lado, baby, ya tienes tiempo mirándome, ven conmigo y atrévete, sé que te va a gustar, después del club tírame en el Instagram, tú tírame para ver pa' dónde.
This thing's magic. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. It's beautiful. It's great for mastering. It's great for mix buses. I put it on the drum mix bus, and this is how you get loud records. You really want to use saturation. You want to use harmonics, and this has it all. This has tubes, has solid state, has pentode, which is another tube, obviously. But you have odd and even harmonics, and you're getting a lot out of this unit because on each of these burners you have, you know, 2 different vibes. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, drop them right here. If you like it, like the video. If you got something out of this, share it. I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. Plug-in of the week, the oven. Go tap in.